A person's greatness is shaped first in the mind. Long before people change their careers, their income, or their lifestyle, they change the way they see themselves. That's why we keep hearing the same timeless idea in different forms. Your thoughts become your reality. Napoleon Hill captured it in his classic message that what you think about consistently and intensely tends to show up in your life. But if thinking is so powerful, why do so many people struggle for years without moving forward? Why do some people work hard and still feel stuck? Often, the problem isn't effort, it's identity. It's the quiet belief, "This is all I am," repeated so many times that it feels like truth. Today's story is about that moment of change. Along the way, you'll naturally learn a few useful English words too, like mindset, the way you habitually think, exchange, a fair trade, and resourceful, good at using what you have. Stay until the end, because the lesson is simple, but it can change the way you approach your own future. In a busy railway station, where announcements echoed above the crowd and trains arrived with a roar, there lived a beggar. Every day he sat near a pillar on the platform, holding out his hand to passengers who were waiting for their trains. Some dropped a coin quickly without stopping. Many walked past as if he were invisible. A few offered a kind word, but kindness without help doesn't fill an empty stomach, so the beggar learned to accept whatever came. Over time, he stopped expecting much. He told himself, "I'm just a beggar. This is my life." And because he believed it, he lived it. One morning, he noticed a well-dressed businessman stepping onto the platform. The man's suit looked expensive, his shoes were polished, and his posture was calm and confident. The beggar's eyes followed him. "This man must be rich," the beggar thought. "If I ask him, he'll surely give me a generous amount." He stood up, walked over, and stretched out his hand. But instead of reaching for his wallet, the businessman looked at him and asked, "Do you always just take from others? Have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar blinked, shocked. He had been ignored, shouted at, even mocked, but he had never been asked that. "Sir," the beggar replied, confused, "I'm a beggar. I survive by asking for alms. I have nothing to give." The businessman didn't laugh. He didn't insult him. He simply said, "If you truly believe you have nothing to give, then you also believe you have no value. And if you believe you have no value, you can't expect others to value you." The words hit the beggar like cold water. Then the businessman added, "I'm a businessman. I believe in exchange. If you offer me something, I can offer you something in return. But if you bring nothing, I can't give you anything either." With that, he boarded his train. The doors closed, and the train pulled away. The beggar stood frozen in the noise of the station. People pushed past him. The loudspeaker announced another departure. But inside his head, everything went quiet. The businessman's words kept repeating, "Do you always just take? Exchange. If you want to receive, you must first give." That night, the beggar couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling and argued with himself. "What can I possibly give? I don't have money. I don't have a job. I don't have anything." And yet another thought arrived, softer but stubborn. "Maybe I've never looked." For 2 days, he barely begged at all. He watched people. He watched how they smiled when someone did something kind. He watched how quickly they ignored him when he simply held out his hand. His hunger grew, but his mind kept working. On the 3rd day, while sitting near the tracks, he noticed a small patch of wildflowers blooming beside the railway line. Their colors looked bright against the dusty ground, as if beauty had decided to survive in the hardest place. The beggar leaned closer. An idea appeared simple, almost childish, yet it made his heart beat faster. What if I don't just ask? He thought. What if I offer something in return? What if every time someone gives me a coin, I give them a flower? He hesitated. Would people laugh? Would they throw it away? Then he remembered the businessman's principle: exchange. Even something small can become value if it's given with intention. He walked carefully to the flowers and plucked a handful gently, trying not to destroy the roots. Then he returned to his spot on the platform. The first passenger that morning dropped a coin into his hand. The beggar smiled and held out a flower. "For you," he said. The passenger paused, surprised, then accepted it with a small smile. The beggar noticed something important. For the first time, the person looked at him, not past him. A tiny bridge had formed between two strangers. A second person gave a coin. The beggar gave a flower. The person chuckled, amused, and said, "Thank you." More people came. Some looked confused at first, then pleased. A young woman tucked the flower behind her ear. An older man placed it carefully in his pocket, as if it mattered. A child held it up proudly like a prize. The beggar felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: dignity. Days passed. Something changed. People started giving him more money than before. They weren't just escaping guilt. They were participating in a trade. The beggar began to see a pattern. When he had flowers, donations increased. When he ran out, the giving dropped again. "So it's true," he whispered to himself. "People like exchange. They like to receive something, even if it's small." But there was another truth hidden inside it. When he gave first, he changed the energy of the interaction. He wasn't begging anymore, he was offering. One afternoon, while he was handing out flowers, he spotted the businessman again through the train window. The beggar's chest tightened with excitement. He rushed toward the carriage. "Sir," he called. "Sir, today I have something to give you. If you give me money, I will give you flowers in return." The businessman turned, recognized him, and smiled. He handed over some cash, more than a single coin, and accepted a few flowers. "You've understood the value of exchange," the businessman said. "Today you are no longer only a beggar. You're thinking like a businessman." The train began to move. The businessman nodded once more and disappeared behind the glass. The beggar stood on the platform, holding the remaining flowers, and felt a new thought rise in him. One that frightened him a little, because it sounded too big. Am I really a businessman? He walked back slowly, repeating the word mindset in his head. Mindset isn't just positive thinking. Mindset is the identity you live from. For years, his mindset had been, "I have nothing. I am nothing." So he sat and waited. But now, he saw something different. People weren't paying him out of pity. They were paying for what he offered. That meant he wasn't powerless. He wasn't trapped. He had simply been living from the wrong belief. In that moment, he became resourceful. He stopped focusing on what he lacked and started working with what he had. Wildflowers were a beginning, not an end. That day, he made a bold decision. He would leave the railway station and never return as a beggar again. His next steps weren't easy. He didn't magically become rich, but he began to act like someone building a future. He visited local markets to watch flower sellers. He learned how they arranged bouquets, how they spoke to customers, how they kept flowers fresh. He offered to help clean stalls and carry boxes in exchange for small pay. He saved little by little. Soon he bought a small bundle of flowers instead of picking them. Then he sold them neatly arranged. Later he learned to tie them with string, then ribbon. He practiced speaking confidently, because he understood that confidence is also a form of value. 6 months later, at the same railway station, two well-dressed men met on the platform. They shook hands. One man stared longer, puzzled. "Do I know you?" he asked. The other man smiled. "Yes," he replied. "We've met twice before right here." The first man looked again. Then his eyes widened. "Wait, you're the beggar, the one I refused to give money to, and later I bought flowers from you." The second man laughed warmly. "That was me," he said. "But today I'm not a beggar. I run a flower business now, and I'm traveling to expand it." The businessman's face showed genuine amazement. "That's incredible," he said. "What changed?" The flower seller answered, "You taught me one of life's greatest truths. We receive when we give. That day, you asked what I could offer, and I realized I wasn't poor because I had no money. I was poor because I believed I had no value. When my belief changed, my actions changed. And when my actions changed, my life followed." They shook hands again, no longer as a giver and a receiver, but as equals, two businessmen traveling toward their own futures. And that is the lesson. Life is shaped by how you see yourself. If you believe you are small, you will keep choosing small actions. But if you recognize your potential, you will start giving, building, learning, and trading value with the world, one step at a time. If you enjoyed this story, share it with someone who needs it. And remember, when your thoughts change, your future changes too.